Recording in progress.
All right. Are we ready?
Yep. And there was the lovely lady.
Yes, we are ready. All right, guys. Let's hit it. No, wait. God dang it. One more time. We've had nothing but technical difficulties this morning. So let's see if we can't break the curse, all right?
All right.
Let's hit it. Hello, hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. And I'm the AB. We're glad you could join us today. I'm so ugly, hookers tell me they have a headache. When you get to that point in your life, you either give up or start a podcast. Guess which one I did, folks? I'll tell you what, I'm ready to go already. I know you guys are too. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's meet today's All-Stars. Warming up in the bullpen, his doctor told him to watch his drinking. The last time they drew blood, his doctor ran a tab. It's BIFF by Adam West. What's up, dude?
What's going on? My biggest fear in life is my doctor telling me I have a liver problem.
Man,
Ooh, I hope it never happens.
I hope
but-
so
no.
too.
Last time I got the results back, and my wife was like, "Okay, I don't need to see any of your test results. I just want to see your liver test results." And I'm like, and the doctor said, "Give me the thumbs up," and I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. No cirrhosis
deal.
for you.
I'm a well-oiled machine.
There you
I would
go.
say well-oiled with gin, I would say, right? Gin is the lubricant, folks. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being on today with us, and let's get up to the next one. Speaking of the next All-Star, next up, he's the Sorcerer Supreme of cyberspace. One night he came home and he figured he'd play it cool, you know, let his wife make the first move. She moved to Florida. It's Retpmus. What's happening, Big Kahuna?
Oh, not much, buddy. Glad to be here. Pretty
Why-
good one.
Why
I also
anybody? What?
I said I also like the little self roast today.
Oh,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't heard you do that for a while.
Well, I'm short staffed, so I have to come up with something to fill that time with. All right.
You know what? You know what's
Short-staffed.
kind of funny about that?
What's
the,
that?
the roast you just did. Yeah, last night I was just actually talking to my wife, talking about how I want to move to Florida where it's freaking warm because I can't stand the cold weather.
You know, Florida. Golly, why did anybody want to move to Florida? I think about Florida.
Hey, I like right now in my room, I have it 76 degrees. I
Jeez.
can't stand to be cold. And I think it's
Look.
because I sit at a desk so long and I'm not up and moving around.
Right.
I get cold easier.
Right.
So if I was up moving around more, then I probably would hate the heat.
Yeah.
But just my lifestyle right this second, I can't stand the cold. My hands are
Right.
cold, my feet are cold, and my nose is cold.
Well,
It's
No
101 where I'm at.
yeah,
right
it's
now,
100.
Oh.
It's
in the
it's
Northeast.
hot up there. So,
I think it's supposed to be 94 to 96 today.
well, wherever you are, we hope you're enjoying a cool one. By the way, it's Florida. No disrespect to hate mail at all, but anytime God, the state bird in Florida is the mosquito. Am I right on that? Golly, who would want to live there? Unbelievable. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say. Except
my mom
for,
has a pool. My mom has a pool. And when I got there, I'm like, and it's enclosed in just a big like thing, like a big tent. And I'm like, why is the whole thing, your whole pool screened in? You're in the nice summer, heat, Florida heat. And she goes,
Right.
I don't know. If this thing isn't screened in, those things come at you like birds.
yes, yes, damn mosquitoes. I don't know how they stand it. Anyways, what do I care? Florida's probably a great state. I just don't think it'd be great for me. All right, enough bagging. Let's get into some DCL. Oh boy, let's see. What do we have on deck today? Not a ton. Let's see. New characters, Fire and Ice. Okay. That's nothing there. TDK is a rework. That's great. You know what's coming up, guys? Raids. Everybody's favorite event in DC Legends. Aren't you excited?
Yay.
I'm
Who's got
excited.
it better than us? Nobody.
Right? My God. So this happens to us once a month, whether we like it or not. And it's always a hill. It's always a steep climb. And we have a lot of people in our alliance even that come to us and say, how the hell you guys get all the way up that hill every fucking raid? And I personally can't tell you because I've never done it. But I have a couple of people here who have. That's one biffed by Adam West and one Retpmus. So without further ado, gang, what are your raid secrets, Biff? How do you get to 500 mil?
Okay, well, first I'll tell you, this wasn't all. First of all, it's not rocket science. It's not like, so if I'm gonna lay out for folks like kind of how I view it as to be the most efficient, most gem efficient, most time efficient, most not wanting to pull out your, gallbladder with an oyster fork,
Right?
because you've spent your entire freaking raid weekend on this bullshit.
Right. Digging for crumbs in the sofa.
Exactly. Right. Like I learned this. So originally in AB, you'll know this name, Monkey King. Actually, when I started in Atlantis, gave me kind of a template for how to be most efficient at raids. And I've tweaked it and I've listened to other people, Sec Jew's given me a couple pieces of this as well. So I've taken from a lot of really good players on just what ultimately works for me and what's the easiest. Now, I'm not going to break any crazy new ground here, so don't expect anything that is life-changing. But there might be, for all the listeners out there might be like one or two things you can grab from this that really help you and make the raid experience not as bad. So when I look at this, I look at it from a couple different perspectives. I look at it from where am I doing my raid battles? How am I doing them? And what resources do I plan to get from this? So first and foremost, to spawn bosses, I start on level 3. And if you want to do your daily missions and you want to do your 30 heroics, level 3 has exactly 30 missions. So if you want to do all of the heroics, do level 3 because you're not wasting a lot of energy. Okay. And you're getting to your different things. But once you get to the 30 heroics, if you choose to do that, and by the way, you don't have to, you can just start on normal and completely maximize all of your energy and not worry about your daily milestones, because generally raids does not coincide with siege. So you don't need to get that extra siege energy from doing your missions.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you say level 3, are you talking about chapter 3?
Chapter 3. Correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And sorry about that, because I wrote down level 3. Chapter 3. So if you want to do your heroics, if you want to get your 30 heroics out of the way, do level 3. Chapter 3. You're going to catch me a few more times. Chapter 3, all of the missions. And then from there on in, what you really want to do is do the last 3 nodes of chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the reason why I rotate to spawn my bosses between the last 3 nodes is those nodes also kick back the most level 1 rare gear of any nodes in the entire game.
And that would be chapter 3 normal.
Chapter 3 normal.
Chapter 3 normal.
Yeah.
Right.
The last 3 nodes. That should be where you're spawning your bosses for your entire raid. Okay. Because one thing it does, so we talk about resources, and raids are a great opportunity for resources. Since I started this program, I have yet to ever have to refresh the gear event, level 1 gear event, for any of the 3 affinities.
Mm.
Okay, so you don't have to spend your 100 gems to get level 1 gears, because I've done it all in my monthly rating. And then I could focus on gear 2 and gear 3 in the 3rd and 5th node for my weekly stuff.
In the 3rd and 5th chapter, you mean?
In the gear events.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The upgrade events.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, no. So the upgrade events, because if I'm getting all of my gear 1s for the entire month in my raid, just from using chapter 3 normal, last 3 nodes, and rotating between those, because each of those nodes is 1 affinity, and you're going to rack up the rare gear ones in those 3. So as you're spawning your bosses, use those 3 nodes. For example, though, if you really want to do different resources, and you like, for example, Sekju does normal 8 and does the last 3 nodes of normal 8 because he wants to rack up essence. I want to be more efficient in gem to getting to the final milestone. Okay. In this program I'm talking about here, I come out about 7,000 to 8,000 gems in the positive at the end of the raids after we get our top 50 alliance rewards.
Right.
So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, as quick as possible. And I'm staying in level 3 for the entire raid, if that makes sense.
Chapter 3.
Mhm.
Chapter 3. Chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. That's kind of the where. Does that make sense to you guys?
Oh,
You guys have any
absolutely.
feedback on that?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I do as well,
Yep.
Biff.
Okay.
It is. It's exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And by the way, some people are going to be like, yeah, I've been doing that for fucking 4 years. Why is this guy getting on a podcast to tell me about it?
Some people don't know.
Some people
There
don't.
are some people this will benefit. And the biggest offshoot I had was that gear 1 thing where I don't have to spend 100 gems to refresh for gear 1, in the weekly events. So that really helps you, because raids is not just a grind and not just a means to get to the final milestone. It's also a means to get resources.
Oh yeah, it's my main one to get
Yeah.
resources. Because
So-
yeah.
Go
Go ahead.
so depending on what resources you want, you can adjust this. Like for example, AB, when Monkey King taught me this, he said, chapter 1, just do chapter 1 because it's the least amount of energy.
Right.
But then when I looked at the amount of essence you got and the gears you got,
Mhm.
I realized chapter 3 for 1 more energy, it just made a lot more sense,
Yeah.
in pulling everything. So
yeah. And for a long time, I was on chapter 1. That's how I did
Yep.
it.
yeah,
But-
because that's how we, we
Yeah.
looked at, but you just add that 1 extra energy and you see the difference in essence, the difference in gears, the rare gears and everything like that. And it makes it worth it. But the other thing is, and this has been reported differently in a lot of places, is make sure when you're spawning your bosses, you're doing 1 at a time. You're not hitting that auto 3 button. Okay. Hit the button 3 times each time, because every time you hit that button, you have a chance to spawn a boss. If you hit the 3-time button, you can only spawn 1 boss
Right.
out of the 3 time. If you hit it 3 times separately, you have the ability to get 3 bosses.
Or if your RNG is like mine, you suck and don't spawn any.
Exactly. But and in the end, it's pretty much you get 1 out of every 6. That's kind of the
Right.
way the thing's written. But there are times where I'll pull 4 in a row, doing it 1 at a time.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times when I pull a lot in a row, I take a break. And plus, you don't want your board to fill up. So
Oh, yeah.
if I pull 3 or 4 in a row, I'm out. Like I'll go then fight the bosses and
Then
and
back to business as usual, right?
and then back to business as usual. Because I find if you stop, it stops momentum. If you get 4 in a row and keep going, you generally then go like 20 without getting 1. So
Right.
I try to stop the momentum, when I get hot. But you're doing those last 3, chapter 3, 1 at a time. The next thing to think about in the how is, where do you need to be after day 1? Where do you need to be after day 2 to put yourself in the position to move for day 3 and day 4, which are really the only ones that truly, truly matter. But you have to get to a certain point spot to be in the upper echelon to get the bigger bosses each day at reset. Okay, so the first thing, I shoot for about 2.5 million on day 1, which is a low number, but that generally gets you in the top 500 and make sure you're at a place where you're going to get the biggest bosses possible in day 2. I do not think you have to get to 2.5 million. That's just my goal, because that puts me very safely in the top tier of players, which makes sure I'm getting the level of bosses I need to at reset of day 1. The other thing I want to really get across, because I see a lot of frustration in the community about day 1, about big bosses. Don't get frustrated. Don't buy into the shiny toy, okay, that is the day one boss. In the grand scheme of things, they're largely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yes, it feels great to go up 10 milestones in one shot on day one when you get your big boss. But ultimately, if you can piece together that 1.5 to 2.5 million on day one, that's really all that matters. Think of how easy a million is on day three. It's a level 90. So don't get too caught up. You want to get your points on day one. You want to tag any big boss you see on day one. Okay. And that's exclusive to day one for me. After day one, do not tag any big bosses that aren't from a member of your alliance. And some people might want to disagree with that, and that's fine. And this is not an end all be all. But the way I look at it is day one, yes, I need chunky 200,000s, 1 millions, or whatever to get to my 1.5 to 2.5 million. And it makes my life easier on day one because I don't want to waste energy. But after day one, big bosses come pretty fast and furious.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is focus on your alliance mates' bosses. And I'm going to give a tip here that a lot of people don't realize. So there's always an alliance energy bonus for the alliance that hits a big boss the most. So at Atlantis After Dark, we give pretty good pops to our alliance mates bosses. Like we're hitting 20, 30 million, not to steal, not stealing anything.
Right.
But
Don't be a twat.
Yeah. Yeah. But helping keep the ball rolling. So we give a good shot, but not everyone does that. A lot of people go in and out, they just go in, get their 200,000 by being in there for 1 second and get out. But here's the tip. When you're attacking alliance mates bosses, make sure you do at least 1 point damage. Make sure you attack something. You don't have to stay in there for 1.5 minutes like I might or Sectu might to help out.
Or I might when I forget.
Correct. Right. And when we do steal bosses,
right, and then we feel
completely
like
by accident.
Yeah.
But make sure you do at least 1 point damage, because if you do a 0 damage attack, you do not get credit for attacking for your alliance.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes that costs you and your alliance mates alliance energy, which we know is still one of the very few valuable resources, no matter who you are, in the game. So does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. It makes sense to me.
Do you guys have anything to add to that part of it?
No, that's fantastic advice. And also for like the newer players, like how you were saying, don't buy into, attacking all the bosses, getting all that on the first day, because, the second day it's worth way more, and the third day even more. And it just, it grows. Just make sure if you're going to buy the head start packs, buy them on the second day. Don't buy them all on the very first day as soon as they pop up.
Yeah.
Yes. Buy them at reset day one. So as close as you can get to reset, buy your packs, because if you're doing it, and by the way, you don't have to. That's one of the reasons why I come out gem positive. They're by the way, for $25 for the 5 packs, it is a very good value.
Yes.
When you look at all of the energy and all of the gems you get, the energy you get, forget the alliance energy and the individual energy, because some people like me, individual energy is irrelevant. I leave every raid with doing 600, 700, sometimes 800 attacks on an alliance boss. I'll still leave a raid with 3,500 alliance energy.
Yeah.
Even after going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it's about the gems and the blue energy that's allowing you to spawn the bosses that are most important. So do that at the end of day one, right before reset. Don't cut it so close that you forget or the game crashes and you miss out on it, which has happened to me, by the way.
Yeah, don't do that.
But do, as Retpmus said, do that as close to the end of day one, right before they expire, because now you go into day two with a ton of energy.
Right.
Okay. So now, how do you save that energy for day three? Because day three is moving day. Day three is the day where if you're going to get to the final milestone, day three is your day. Okay. So how do we save all that energy we just bought at reset of day one through day two? One way, and this was taught to me, is the day 2 is going to be red gear day in the upgrade events. So farm all of your red gear for the month. Now remember, you don't have to farm the first node of the red gear event because we're taking care of that in chapter 3 normal. Okay, we're taking care of all of our number 1 gears for the entire month right there. So we're going to bounce between the 3rd node and the 5th node for gear 2s and gear 3s, and we're going to refresh that as long as we have the gems. And by the way, I told you I come out gem positive, and I'm spending day 2 mostly refreshing the red events. Okay, and I'm still coming out gem positive, and I'm doing all my red gears for the entire month by bouncing between the 3rd node and the 5th node, getting all my rare gear 2s and all my rare gear 3s. Okay,
yeah.
So, but I am also hitting my 30 heroics, and I am
do your daily challenges.
Yeah, I'm still doing that stuff, but I'm trying to keep as much of that energy I bought from the packs there for day 3 for the reset. Now I talked about the 1.5 to 2.5 million for day 1. What's your target to make sure you're in the upper echelon? And by the way, you can just look at it for what your rank is. If you're anywhere near the top 750, you're going to make sure you have the right bosses starting day 3. So don't over stress about this, but I mark a target of about 17.5 million to end day 2 at. That will put you pretty comfortably in that realm, and you don't have to worry about what bosses you're going to get at reset, because at reset day 2, that's where I want my bosses. That's where I want my 90s. That's where I want my 68s.
Right.
That's where I want to start getting my 110s.
Spawn a 90.
Yeah.
If you can spawn a 90. I haven't spawned a 90 in a long time.
Well, but see, 90s to me are the most prevalent.
Absolutely.
That I get. And I think that's one thing, AB, where you're probably not at 17.5 million going into day 2. And you know what's interesting? Sometimes I panic because I hit it pretty hard at reset for day 3.
Okay.
And like for the first hour, I don't get 90s. And I'm like, did I not get far enough? Like, did I not get, did my 17.5 million not make it? But then I realized that's just kind of a changeover thing.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then about an hour in, 9:00 Eastern on Friday night, all of a sudden the 90s start flowing. So, and by the way, people complain about 68s. 68s are fine too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just want to, and a lot of times they're more cost effective than a lot of the big bosses.
Yeah.
Once you get into it, you're going to earn your final milestone on level 90s and level 68s. It's not going to be on big bosses. Yes, I love getting the 5 million pop or the 3.5 million pop, but you're really making your hay on the 90s, and they're quicker, and you can get through them faster. So when you talk about day 2, you're doing your red gears, you're setting yourself up for as much energy as you can save up for day 3 reset. Your moving day is day 3. When you get to day 4,
you host a show, you host a podcast.
Yeah, you can get back to
you get back to life.
Yes, you can go back to that. Now every upgrade event is on the table. So now you can farm whatever else you want in day 4. But day 3, you're going to use your energy that you saved up from the end of day 1. And day 4, you can go back to the upgrade events and reset those. And, obviously you're going to have to buy some energy here and there. But the idea is doing it this way and in farming all your gear through the events for the red event on day 2 and whatever event you need on day 4. You're setting yourself up for your resources for the whole month. You're bouncing between chapter 3 normal last 3 nodes, okay, to spawn the most bosses. And that's really it.
Right.
Like, it's not, don't once again, don't get caught up in the shiny new toy of the day 1 big boss. It's not a big deal. I know it's frustrating, but it really doesn't matter. So that's it.
That's it. Retpmus, you've been very quiet, pal.
Oh, I jumped in a little bit. I just want to say, fantastic analysis there, Biff. If I had, someone that would tell me that, just going into an alliance or just learning how to do something, or even if I've been there for a while, but couldn't fully maximize my, gear farming, things like that, this would definitely have come in very helpful. I appreciate you putting it together and sharing it with everyone out there.
Well, I give a shout out to Monkey King, who gave me the skeleton of this whole thing years ago. I wish he was still playing the game.
Yeah,
great dude. One of the founders, I believe, of the Kingdom of Atlantis Alliance. Great guy.
He was.
And he gave me the skeleton of that, and then over the years I've just kind of tweaked it based on listening to other players, talking to people. And to be honest with you, I generally get to the final milestone midday on Saturday.
Really?
By doing this, I do have to use some time at reset, day 3, and first thing waking up Saturday morning. So Friday night and Saturday morning, I do put a pretty substantial amount of time into it. But I'm pretty much done after that. And from a resource perspective, like, you're really setting yourself up.
Yeah. So if I can summarize it, basically, if you do the raids right, you're completely finished with raids by day 3.
Yeah. I think a lot of players do that. Like someone like Haymail says, Saturday is his wife's day, so he's got to grind on Sunday.
Right.
My wife sleeps in on Saturday, so I'm able to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and just pound out a few hours and pretty much get myself there. But yeah, you can do it in 3 days, or you can choose to get yourself ahead of the game and then just say, hey, I'm just going to cruise home.
Right.
One time I didn't get to 500 million. I got to like 450 by noon on Saturday. And then I just decided I'm done.
Right.
All I'm going to do is tag my alliance mates, big bosses, and get my last 50 million, 500 at a time.
Yeah.
And help out my team at the same time.
Sure.
And rack up alliance energy while doing it. So there's so many different ways to do it, and there's so many different ways to be effective. But I can tell you, at noon on Saturday, I am no longer worried about getting to my last milestone.
Right.
By doing it this way.
Right. Just a little strategy. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to kill myself at the end of of every raid. Like I did at the beginning. Like when I first started doing it, oh my gosh.
My Lord.
It was like 4:30 on Sunday.
Right.
And I get to the final milestone and I'm just like, I don't want to look at this game.
Oh,
like,
so
tonight's PvE day? Go fuck yourself.
Right.
Like you got a better chance of seeing God than me, manualing my PvE day on Sunday after raids.
My God.
But now I'm nice and easy on Sunday night.
And it usually worked out to where, like, as soon as it was over, then Siege started.
Right.
That's normal. So like, as soon as you're done with this and roll ever comes around, you're like, thank goodness raids are, now Siege just started. I got to make sure and do that.
Hey, Biff, remember that time that I attacked you right after Siege and you got mad?
Oh, right after it.
Right. Yeah, like you were on my first row of people. You were on my first screen.
The BIFF bot board. Kicking Siege.
I was on the BIFF bot board.
Oh, I sat there last Siege, so I do a pretty good job at Siege. I generally don't spend an energy. I just shoot for top 210. I really don't care. But last Siege, as Retpmus said, it was right at the end of raids, and I got in there in the first battle I fought in Siege, and I didn't even want to do it, like, because raids was just over.
Oh yeah,
we're talking through Alliance about how we did it again, nice and easy. Atlantis After Dark is the easiest top 50 you'll ever have in your life. And all of a sudden I do my first fight and I lose because I'm really not paying attention. I'm not doing, I still don't even know what the fuck Shazam does yet. Like I'm not even paying attention and just 0 for 1. I was like, fabulous. I love Siege when raid ends.
Don't we all? Well, and on that note, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We had a visitor here lately, last week, to the Toxin Lounge, if I'm looking at this right. Yeah, let's say what it says here that he's a special guest on the Toxin Lounge. And I guess this is a gin and sec juice. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess that's I don't know if Dr. Crane loves it, but that was the rebranding.
Okay.
Of his shows. Dr. Crane over the years got a lot of feedback, AB, on his show.
He did. He sure did. Well, he's about to get some feedback now, I think. Folks, I'm going to turn this thing over to Dr. Crane, and he's going to let you in on a little secret here. Take it away, Dr. Crane.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Jonathan Crane, the Master of Fear, here for Atlantis After Dark. Pull up a chair and mix yourself a drink. You can be sure I am. Again, I'm being forced to have a co-host. They're calling the show Gin and Sec Juice. Welcome to the Toxin Lounge, Sec Jew.
Well, thank you, Dr. Crane. You know, I know the drinks are aplenty here, but do you know if I can get a snack?
Ugh. Minions, could you grab some beer nuts or something for Sec Jew? And hand me that stupid jingle. Sec Jew's rolling down the street, smoking day glow while I'm sipping on G&T's. Raid back. I got my mind on your fears.
And I got Funyuns on my mind.
Ugh. Wonderful. Today, we're honored to welcome to the Toxin Lounge an all-powerful member of the Atlantis After Dark Alliance, Satan 2800. Welcome to the Toxin Lounge.
Well, thank you, Dr. Crane. I got to tell you, it's a pleasure to be here. It's pretty creepy down here, even for my standards. My feet are getting wet.
Well, speaking of pleasure, what's your pleasure? What can the minions mix you for a drink?
How about a Bloody Mary with all the trimmings, extra olives? Please.
That's fine, but we're out of vodka. Ever since that little kitty Little came to the lounge, we've been all out of vodka. But you're in luck. Our house specialty is a Bloody Maria with habanero infused tequila. I'm sure you don't mind a little fire.
Maria Caliente Habanero, coño, sí. That sounds like something I like. I mean, you got to restock the lounge, though. Kitty was here in October.
But I'm not a big vodka drinker, but you are correct. I should always be prepared.
You know, speaking of fire, these beer nuts are a little bit stale. You sure you don't have any Funyuns back there?
I'll send the minions out for a convenience store run, but let's get to business. And minions, make mine a double. So let's start where we usually start. Satan, what scares you in the world of DC Legends?
Well, Dr. Crane, I was gonna say Wonder Girl, but that's kind of cheap. The real fear I think everybody should have is the actual game shutting down. What if it shuts down? Are we just gonna look at porn all the time?
Well,
people are really savage. They're savage on the way they talk to the devs. They don't owe us anything. They can pull the plug whenever.
that's true, but the two things, porn and DCL, are not mutually exclusive. But you are correct that there is a feeling of entitlement among the community and not an understanding that if we don't continue to support the game and don't continue to maybe expect a little less from our devs, that the game could shut down.
Yeah, it's an old game, and we invest so much time, so much money, and I want to get to RB5 before they pull the whole plug. I just made it to RB3, but it's
Nice.
Batman DC. But but I'm getting there little by little, and I mean, they're really savage. If I was the devs, after that raid debacle, and I know there's going to be problems, and we have a right to be mad, but we can't, we got to be more appreciative, like you said, Dr. Crane.
Well, I got to chime in for a second there. I mean, I think it's a very valid fear to have, especially with the thrashing that the community gives the devs sometimes. But speaking from the business side, and something to be a little less concerned about is as much as the devs might get thrashed, it's the almighty dollar that depends whether or not this game gets canceled. And as long as the revenues are fairly consistent, they're just employees taking that thrashing like many of us at our regular day jobs. So I think the fear of the thrashing, not so much. My concern is players getting frustrated over the issues that we're having with raids, leaving the game, and then those people that may have a couple months from now started buying raid packs, or maybe have invested in a couple tune packs from their favorite tunes in the store or something like that. Those people won't be there to spend that money to keep the game alive. That's where I think the fear of the game closing should come from more. Is the devs got thrashed, but rightfully so, based on the fact that they don't communicate with the community that effectively. Like if something is wrong with raids, put out a statement. At least give us the fake pat on the back that we're working on it, we're going to make it right, we're going to fix it. We've got to wait until raids are done before we even get that pat on the back statement, and I think that makes a lot of the community feel a certain kind of way, and I think that contributes to the thrashing the devs end up taking when all these raid bugs happen.
But one day they could just not reply at all, just go, and that's it, and we'll just continue playing with nothing new every month. That would be devastating. So before people start boycotting,
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not suggesting
and we know it's
yeah, the boycott is ill thought out, because taking money away from a game that needs, as Sectu said, consistency in investment to keep it going doesn't make much sense. But as Sectu said, everyone has a right to not expect, and not just raid bugs, keep the raid bugs coming, especially for AAD. We're done after day 2 anyway. We love bugs because we love the rewards that come with bugs. So doesn't change our play style any, and we get rewarded like world's finest. So those can keep coming. I think people are upset more about the new tunes and the rework bugs that continue to happen. But as I've said before, if we know what we have in this game, if you are upset about bugged tunes, that's a you problem at this point. Change your expectation.
Yeah, and I think obviously, everyone's entitled to their own expectations. It's a tight line for the developers to walk, because one thing, we are paying customers in a lot of these cases where you expect a certain level of service, but as Dr. Crane has alluded to, we know what we're getting at this point. So if you're RB3 or if you're RB5, if you're building to those levels, you've been around long enough to know what this game has to offer and what to expect when you decide to press that button to purchase something. So as painful as it may be, we all should know what to expect at this point.
Yeah, Seku, could you pass the bong, please?
Absolutely, my friend. Let me just spark it myself real quick.
The reality, what's bad about this fear, and it's a real fear that we should all have, is it is gonna shut down eventually. It's not gonna go on forever. It will happen. I just hope that I can make it to the ultimate level of RB5 before it goes poof.
Yes, and when you think about it, something you said to me earlier is, who doesn't want to make it to that ultimate level of RB5? And we have heard a lot of conversation, and certainly Reddit, about the neutering of your own roster and the keeping it below a certain point for red alerts, or for, God forbid, these world finest Wraith folks. The idea of a game like this is to build your roster and build it to the highest level possible. Sectu, what do you think?
I agree, absolutely. I think to your point earlier, Dr. Crane, that it depends on where you are in the game. If you're building your roster, if you have objectives, if you're trying to get a bunch of shards and get that world's finest in the Wraith tournament or whatever, place as high as you can. It's a lot easier when you do keep your roster quote unquote neutered, so to speak. I think it really depends on your goals. Speaking from personal experience, fellow alliance mate Mr. Danik once advised me, like, what are your goals in the game? And my goals were, I want to help my alliance do the best they possibly can in raids. I don't care about all the other stuff. My main deal is I want my alliance to thrive in raids. I want to make people's days easier, and I want to get good rewards too. So at that point, pushed for 80, starting to RB all my characters as best I can. And you just keep pushing and pushing. And even Retpmus once told me, you'll get to RB5 eventually. And I said, I don't know, man, they might shut this game down before I ever get there. And now I'm sitting on a couple RB5s working on my fourth one. And it's fun for me to pursue maxing out a character. Why would I want to get a bunch of shards and then not use them and just look at like 5,000 shards on my little purple character like Vandal Savage, who will never get rebirthed at this point? So I think that you're hindering your game experience to try and hoard things that you're not going to use. What's the good of placing high in Wrath and getting like those huge amounts of shards to never use them?
And you'll just be mediocre. You want to be strong, I have like 45 characters now that are G11, level 70, and it's a bitch trying to get them all to level 80 at the same time as I'm building the new tunes each month. So I did kind of shoot myself in the foot. It's a lot. It's a lot from that 70 to 80, and it happened because I was taking it easy. I was scared by reading all the Reddit posts, to go all the way. I think people need to just go all the way and be strong.
Push yourself. But unlike Satan, I do not recommend an RB3 Caped Crusader.
Hey, he evades. He
is an evader.
No, he does one-shot Spectre though at that level. He does, he's Batman.
Yeah, after his rework, does he punch under awareness too? After his rework? No?
Yeah, no, if he's invisible, it's can't miss.
That's it. Sorry. I knew it was something else with my fellow colleagues, BIFF by Adam West, did not like.
If you don't build your roster, they're going to call you a peasant, or maybe some other dinosaur might call you a baby. So, it's a lot of hate going on for that too.
I think the moral of the story is build your roster, push yourself. Don't worry about a difficult red alert or not getting plus 20s. I personally need to see over 42.5 thousand power points to get a plus 9, and I love it.
Oh, to that point, Dr. Crane, red alerts. I'm having so much more fun than I've ever had with red alerts since I rebirthed my Superman and my Superwoman, because my red alerts have gotten so much harder, and I actually have to think about them and use different teams to beat them. If you pick that one wrong team and suddenly the chemistry of who your matchups are is off, and it is so much more fun actually playing through those red alerts than it ever has been, because it's so much harder because I've only got the 3 RB5 characters. So for people that like a challenge, I didn't mind it.
There's always an easy team though. People complain about the red alerts a lot, but you just got to look at the teams. It's never hard. I never, once in a while you mess up and, but not really. At this point, you should have a big enough roster that if you lose a tune, it's not a big deal. Like, you'll always.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more fun if you lose a tune here and there.
Yeah. I just go for the easy ones,
Well, I think it's time to thank everyone for joining us here in the Toxin Lounge, and you, Satan. Oddly enough, I was in the AAD merch store the other day and I saw you already have your own t-shirt.
That's right.
I can't believe you got one before the most famous personality in the AAD world.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Merle doesn't have a t-shirt either.
No, you twat. Me, the master of beer. Minions. Get Satan.
I didn't even plug my OnlyFans!
Well, I guess the lounge got a little too hot for our friend Satan.
Well, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But at Dr. Crane, we got a serious problem here. I don't think the minions know what Funyuns are.
Well, you'll have to let them know for our next episode. But thank you for joining us today on Gin and Sec Juice.
All right, everybody. Gin and Sec Juice. Gin and Sec Juice. What a hell of a show that was. I actually liked that episode of the Toxin Lounge. I thought it was great. I can't wait to see the reviews on it.
Oh, I know there'll be a few people chiming in.
I did want to say this morning I was incredibly bored. So as I'm sitting on the toilet this morning for my morning constitutional, I decided I'm actually going to go through and do red alerts. It was the first time I've ever completed red alerts in probably a year.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't believe how easy it was. And it just made me think about when you talked about that in the show, and just thinking, why do people still nerf their fucking tunes because of red fucking alerts? Why do people still do that? Don't fucking nerf your tunes.
I think it's what Satan said, is that there's like this fear.
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about it in the Toxin.
Yeah.
They talked about it in the Toxin Lounge. Like it's like, as soon as I go over 24,000, I can't clear my Wrath board, or as soon as I go over this, it's like, okay, just build. If you build slowly, and I'm not telling the new player
Right.
to build up 4 tunes, to 26 power.
Yeah, don't handicap yourself.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, but the good players, there are good players out there that are still doing this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think the whole thing is that they don't get the 20 plus 20 anymore. I mean, look at us.
I don't
Right.
get a plus
Well,
20.
we don't shoot for world's finest. At that lower level, they need the shards. And they're like, oh, if I handicap myself, I won't be able to get that without spending a lot. So that's why they handicap themselves. So they'll get all those 20s, chances every time. Not that they'll win them every time,
Right.
but they have that option where we don't.
Sure.
yeah, no. And
it's
by the
like
way,
treading
I'm
water.
I'm not taking a shot at anyone that goes Wrath's World Finest or anything like that. That's not what the point is. We all play this game for different reasons. And the one thing I've always prided myself on is I'm not going to tell someone else how to enjoy their distraction from real life. Okay. So let me be very clear on that. You guys, your game, your roster, you do what you want. I play this game for roster building. That's why I play it. I like taking everything up certain levels. And by the way, I didn't do it overnight.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I almost have every 184 characters level 80 max ringed.
Mhm.
L4 and above, every single one, over half my roster, L5 and above. And that's what's driven me. And but quite frankly, my fear in DCL now, if Dr. Crane ever has me on, I'm getting to the point where I have nothing left to do.
How is that going to work? How is Dr. Crane going to have you on? I'm just curious.
I mean, we're like, me and him are drinking buddies. We have Toxin Lounges like every
You're
day.
never in the same place at the same time. I don't know how that works, though.
Oh, no. We've been in the same place at the same time, just no one else has been there.
Okay. Love all that dead air.
Well,
sorry. That was a dead air bit, everybody.
Dr. Crane did drag on a bit.
He did.
Yeah.
he's you know what the feedback we should get this time for Dr. Crane is he's got to do one subject, a Toxin Lounge, maybe
Right.
not 2.
He can't go off on a tangent.
Yeah, we can't do 2 subjects. Takes
Good
too long.
Lord.
Especially with that Sectu puffing his weed, fucking blabbering on.
Yeah.
That shit's hilarious.
Kind of
Like-
lose track of time.
Yeah,
no,
I'm sure he
absolutely.
does lose track of time. He's lost track of more than that. Oh, boy. Well, listen, everybody. You guys have been fabulously entertaining today. And thank you guys so much. But I think it's time we start taking this thing around the horn to get our last words in. Retmus, you know what the score is. Take us to church, pal.
All right. I'm not going to blab a lot today. I just want to just tell everybody, just enjoy the game, have fun, play it how you want. It is a game. Don't take it too seriously. The whole thing is majority of people just, join, an alliance to have fun, have socialization with others. Just continue to do that. I mean, have the fun with your teammates. I mean, that's really, if that's all you get out of it is some time where you have some socialization with someone and a good time, then you've benefited. It doesn't matter if the game has bugs or it's perfect. It's just the time that you put in it and the enjoyment you get out of it.
Man, I couldn't have said that any better myself. I'd agree. Thank you, buddy. All right. Mr. Biff, you get the next and last word today, pal.
Well, I would venture to hypothesize that I've spoken enough on this episode.
Yeah, this has been like the Biff special, hasn't it?
Oh, God. Good Lord. But I will say one thing to our man Zuzu out there, the leader and organizer of DCL server. I recommend you go there. He's running a contest right now in alignment with DC Super Pets. And it's a ton of fun. People are posting pictures of their pets, whether it's with DC paraphernalia on or even not. We know how big a part pets are in our lives, whether it's cats, dogs,
right?
Weird stuff. I'll stick with the cats and dogs thing.
Right. No snakes or rats or anything like that.
Yeah, but
right.
But they're posting pictures of your best friends.
Yeah.
And him and his alliance do a good job of trying to also give you rewards as well.
Yes,
for the winners.
And what are the rewards this time, Biff?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't get like every pet one so far I've won. So I'm like, well, so I expect to win again, but that's one reason why because my dog dressed as Batman is kind of awesome.
It is kind of awesome.
But the reason I'm bringing this up in our medium here is because I want more competition. My dog Mo wins all the pet competitions. So get your pets on there. Kitty Little's pets on there. Witty Amazon's pets on there. Wally Ball's pets on there. Zuzu's pets on there. Get it out there. Put in the submission, and just look at other people's cute pets.
Absolutely,
it's awesome.
And I hadn't done that myself, so I'm going to hop over there. And by the way, the reason I asked you if you knew what the prizes were is because Atlantis After Dark is giving away the prizes. Holy cow!
There is some. I did see a merch on there as one of the prizes, but there's also cash or Google Pay. Or,
there is. Yeah,
or whatever. So just, and by the way, to put for me to, how long it took me to find a couple collages of my dog. About fucking 4 seconds.
Yeah, I hear you. I haven't yet posted a picture of my kitty cats, but maybe I will get there this afternoon to do that. Not that I want to win, because what am I going to do with more AAD shirts? I've got a whole closet full of them damn things.
Well, by the way, there's the new Satan shirt.
There is. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm hoping based on Dr. Crane's violence that maybe Dr. Crane gets a shirt soon. I know I'd buy that one.
I'm sure you would. We can make one sale. One sale.
I just laid my honey shirt.
Yeah, there's only one sale on that too. I wonder who got that.
I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, look, guys, today has been awesome. You guys are always fun, but I think it's time we wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Get on our website, just like the boys told you, AtlantisAfterDark.com. Grab that cool new Satan t-shirt from our store, get on Discord, talk directly with us, and then hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. For Biff and for Retpmus, we'll see you all right here next time for another fantabulous, wonderful episode of Atlantis After Dark. So long, everybody.